Hi everybody and welcome to my review of One Piece chapter 1049. We're one chapter away from 1050. 49 chapters ago, the beginning of One Piece began, and it looks like it's going to end with chapter 1050, although I don't think the fight's over with despite the ending of this chapter, which I'll get into. But let's start off with the cover page, and immediately we got some development because we see Niji and Yonji, and the place has been set on fire, and I'm assuming it's because they set Mondor's book on fire. We're not only close to seeing George, Ichiji and Reiju again, we're pretty close to seeing Katakuri, I think, considering we saw Cracker in the last chapter. Things being on fire is pretty much the theme of this chapter. We start off the chapter with Luffy and Kaido in the clash, and it looks like it's just a stalemate, even though Kaido has caught Luffy's attack. And we get some dialogue before this triggers a flashback, and Kaido's like, I have to give it to you for coming this far, but you'll never be able to change this world. Finally, we got somewhat of a Kaido flashback. So it starts off when he was 10 years old. It looks like he caused some straight up destruction. It took place 46 years ago. We see Kaido, and I have to say his design kind of reminds me of Katakuri when he was young, very similar. Although Kaido looks like he just doesn't care. In the Kingdom of Vodka, it's cool because we never knew this kingdom existed, and from what we can tell, it also has some ties in with the Celestial Dragons, because it looks like they need to come up with loot to pay off the Celestial Dragons, otherwise they'll lose their status in the world, apparently. So I can't remember if this kingdom actually took part in the recent reverie. I can't remember. So I don't know if this place exists anymore, but either way, or if Kaido just literally just demolished it because he can. We see the King of Vodka here, and it's kind of ironic considering Kaido's obsession with drinking. I guess we see the beginning of why Kaido has so much conviction when it comes to like disloyalty and distrust, because he literally gets betrayed and he gets flung off to the Marines. Kind of dub it as like, oh, you're too much of a head case, we can't keep you around. But it's like, but the Marine says if you offer him up, we'll allow you to attend the next revelry. So Kaido, obviously very understandable, gets pissed. He actually escapes the Marines, and we know he does because we know he was captured 17 times, and apparently he was captured one time before because we see the Marines like, oh, we already caught him once. Did he really escape again? The reason he gets caught is because he's looking, whenever he's hungry, he's like, it's a buffet for him, so that's the reason he allows himself to get caught, which makes sense because Kaido's way too strong to be overpowered by normal Marines, unless there's an Admiral or two. But this is pretty cool because we actually get to see Full Light Island, which I believe is the same place where we believe Sengoku pretty much said that's the base of the Rocks Pirates, which is pretty cool. There's a time skip because the Kaido flashback took place 46 years ago, and it jumps 2 years to 44 years ago. I'm pretty sure that's the same base we saw Blackbeard at the last time we saw him, because we saw Moria went to that place, and that's the last time we saw him, so we don't know where he's at right now, which makes sense given a lot of people seem to think that Blackbeard has a connection with Rocksteeds back, so that would make sense. But Kaido just overpowered, much like Blackbeard did. He overpowered the people of Full Lead. What's interesting, this actually leads into Whitebeard. It's like, hey Brat, you want to be a pirate? I think it's interesting that Whitebeard is the one that introduces him to Rocksteeds back and to become a member of the Rocks Pirates, even though I think a couple of chapters ago when we got Big Mom's downfall of Kaido meeting Big Mom for the first time, it's cool seeing Whitebeard in his role asking Kaido if he wants to become a member of the Rocks Pirates. We go to the incident of the God Valley, and then there's something else that happens because the reason they lost is because there was infighting in their own crew. But then Big Mom is like, well, don't screw with me, where the hell did you go, Kaido? So what happened with Kaido? Was he at the battle or was he abandoned? What the hell happened? We get too many time jumps. Then we go over to Higurashi, the old hag that Kaido eventually ends up killing. Apparently Higurashi had some type of association with Kaido, and I'm wondering if this is after she met Orochi or before. That's kind of interesting. Is Higurashi's like, but then again, humans are just like any other animal. Survival of the fittest is their true nature. I think this is where Kaido has distrust for humans and pirates alike. That's what we constantly seeing throughout this entire 1 Act 3. Kaido's like, couldn't agree more. From now on, everything will revolve around the former members of the Rocks crew. And it looks like Higurashi has something in mind, because it's like, with that in mind, I have a proposition for you. We don't get to find out what that is. I'm wondering if Higurashi mentions the land of Wano. Because he's not wearing the same stuff he's wearing now. Kaido's like all those peace-loving nobles, the hellish reality of war. And immediately he's like, okay, he's like got a grudge against the celestial dragons, which makes sense. Then it cuts to Kaido talking to King about, it's interesting that Kaido mentions Yamato is the one that mentioned it in front of Kaido. Not sure how that brat learned this name. Apparently, Oden wanted to open Wano to welcome Joy Boy. And obviously that points to Luffy liberating Wano eventually. And I also find it interesting, we get this flashback by the end, because he's talking to King, is that if Joy Boy is the same man you're waiting for, King, then I know who he is. And King's like, who is it? But then it cuts to that present time, and it cuts to the remaining Cypherport agent dipping. I mean, he literally kicks the air and just gets the hell away from Onigashima. I don't know where he's going to. I personally think he's just hiding until everything dies down, because he knows what's about to happen with Luffy's attack. And then you got Yamato coached on Momonosuke to bring up the flame clouds. Before any of that happens, it's like, I know Luffy will win. So that's cool that Yamato has faith in Luffy to bring down Kaido. This is where the problems start down below, because we see the water coming down, and like I've been saying, it was pretty much predictable. Raizo and Jinbei throwing the water without caring the world. It's like, we see all Devil Fruit users, including some of the Straw Hats. We see they're all getting flushed up, including Robin and Brooke. Brooke's just gargling the water, and Robin looks like she's passed out, which she already was weakened from a battle with Black Maria, so that's not good. You got other Devil Fruit users like Law and Scratch Manapoo, Kid. You even got the scabbers like Kiku and Kinemon being washed up. Usopp, we saw in the previous chapter, is coaching on to Kinemon or Kiku don't die, because obviously Hamlet was getting weakened, so yeah. Like, unless Law does something, everyone down below is pretty much screwed. Also, that means Tama as well, because she's also a Devil Fruit user, and I'm curious because she's a Paramecia, right? Because she can affect others with a Devil Fruit, with a Kibidongo. What happens to the users that have eaten the Kibidongo? Does it wear off? Do they lose control with a Tama being weakened? So that's going to be interesting to find out. And we also see Sanji and Osome-chan getting washed up, so yeah, this is not looking good. You even see the mouse on Sanji's head, so that's pretty cool. And to me, Zoro's in the worst position right now, because he was already wrecked. And you see Frankie carrying Zoro. So we go over Treasury Repository with, I guess, the aftermath of Orochi's downfall, Denjiro and Hiyori's reunion. Again, I'm going to say it again, I don't like how that ended, but I guess we can move on. Unless Orochi finds a way to reform. We see his head burning, which I don't know why. And then the island is falling. And then out of nowhere, this is probably one of the biggest problems about this, is like the flame clouds immediately get washed away. And I'm like, if it wasn't for Luffy, like Jinbei and Raizo would have pretty much accidentally killed the people inside Onigashima, and possibly the people in Flower Capital, because the flame clouds was all that they had. It looked like it got washed away. Momonosuke's expression is priceless. Yamato's like, okay, that's not good. So this literally leaves it up to Luffy to like, and we still got the stalemate with Kaido grabbing onto Luffy's fist. And then we got Kaido's like, what kind of world do you wish to make? And it's interesting, he asked that to Luffy. Luffy just like, he follows through with his attack and then sends Kaido straight down. And then Luffy's response is, a world where my friends can eat as much as they like. That's my kind of world. And sends Kaido straight down to the bottom of Onigashima. He actually looks like he sends him through Onigashima to the ground. If you see the panel, it looks like he hits the ground and not the ocean, so he's not in the water. And you see the massive hole that Kaido falls through. It kind of reminds me of Big Mom, which makes sense. That punch from Luffy is no joke. That forces Kaido straight down in his dragon form. In his magma dragon form, I should say. And then obviously the punch that connects with Kaido is a direct reference to how his fight with Doflamingo ended. It's literally the same, where the side of his face gets punched in by King Kong gun. But I don't think it's the end of this fight, and it goes back to his conversation with King, where it's like, I know who he is, he's going to be the person who defeats me. So Kaido already knew, he had a sense that Joy Boy was the one rise up to defeat him. Like he's been waiting all this time, but again, just like last chapter with Orochi's downfall, it also coincides with the ending of this chapter with the two wishes being, please vanquish the scary dragon, and the other is obviously restore the Kazuki clan. All in all, I would say this chapter is pretty much a step up from the previous two chapters that we got, but even though we got a kind of flashback, I do have a gripe because it looks like Oda was like just trying to get it over with. He's trying to rush it in this chapter. Wait a minute, it goes back to what I said before Kaido's downfall. We needed to get the Kaido flashback, and it's kind of cool we do get Kaido's flashback, but it's kind of rushed. So I feel like this is where the anime could come in and like add certain things like they did with the Odin flashback, but on a much higher degree, because I feel like even though it wasn't as hyped as the Odin flashback, we still been waiting a long time to get Kaido's backstory. I guess we get the key indicators of why Kaido's the way he is. It's what I've been saying all along. Ever since Luffy and Kaido's final showdown began, before Luffy awoke in Gear 5th, like Kaido's been waiting for someone to rise up to prove him wrong and to actually surpass Kaido and take him down, to make Kaido see there's more to this world than what you've already seen. And I think that's what Kaido's been waiting for. It looks like that's pretty much obvious on the flashback that we've gotten. It's just one of those things that I wish we got more, but I do understand it. However, I don't think this is the end, just because, listen, we got this twice with Big Mom against Kid-in-Law. Kid-in-Law's combo attacks, and it didn't get the job done until the third time was the charm. I think Luffy first off punched Kaido with a fist a couple of chapters ago that went straight through his face. That was the first punch. This is the second, and again, obviously there's the point with Luffy's condition, we don't know how much further he can go. Kaido's in dragon form. He's not in his base form, he's not in his hybrid form. This literally is going to be the end of the fight. Personally, I don't think so, but let me know what you guys think down below. Like I said, this chapter was a step up from the previous two. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's going to do it for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Like the review, hit the thumbs up, I appreciate that. Subscribe to for more One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks guys. Bye.